Picture this, a mother who poured her heart into raising her son, now stands heartbroken as his words cut deeper than any strangers ever could. Why does a son, once so close, turn against the woman who gave him everything? It's a question that tears families apart, and the answer lies in the shadows of the human psyche. Welcome to Jung's Psyche Hub, where we uncover the hidden truths of the soul through Carl Jung's timeless wisdom. In this video, we're diving into the bitter truth behind the mother-son bond, a dynamic filled with love, pain, and unconscious conflicts. Drawing from Carl Jung's profound insights on the mother complex, shadow, and individuation, we'll reveal 4 psychological secrets that explain why sons hurt their mothers and how this pain can become a path to healing. From the unseen forces driving his behavior to the steps both mother and son can take to rebuild their bond, this journey will change how you see family, love, and yourself. Stay until the end for a truth that could transform your relationships forever. Ready to uncover the hidden truth? Let's dive into the psyche and begin. Deep within every man lies a force he can't always name, a pull that ties him to his mother, not just as a person, but as a symbol of love, safety, and sometimes Suffocation. Carl Jung called this the mother complex, a hidden truth that shapes how a son sees himself, his relationships, and the world. When a son hurts his mother through sharp words, cold distance, or outright rejection, it's not just a moment of anger, it's a battle with the shadow of his past, a war against the parts of himself he can't face. In this chapter, we'll uncover the first secret of why sons hurt their mothers, the unconscious pain of the mother complex, and how it drives a son to lash out at the woman who gave him life. Through Carl Jung's wisdom, real-life stories, and practical insights, you'll see how this hidden battle begins and how it can lead to healing. So, what is the mother complex? Imagine a tapestry woven into a man's psyche from the moment he's born. His mother isn't just a caregiver, she's an archetype, a figure Carl Jung described as the primal source of life, comfort, and dependence. She's the first person who holds him, soothes him, and shapes his sense of security. But as he grows, that same mother becomes a mirror of his vulnerabilities, his neediness, his fears, his longing for safety. For a son, this dependence can feel like a chain, especially as he tries to forge his own identity. Carl Jung taught us that the mother complex isn't just love, it's a tangle of gratitude, guilt, and rebellion. When a son hurts his mother, he's often fighting not her, but the unconscious pain of those early years, the memory of being small and powerless. Let's bring this to life with a story. Meet Mark, a 35-year-old software engineer who seems to have it all: a thriving career, a loving partner, and a sharp mind. But when it comes to his mother, Linda, something shifts. Every time she calls to check in, Mark feels a knot in his chest. Her questions, "How's work? Are you eating enough?" sound like criticism to him, as if she thinks he can't handle his life. One evening, after a long day, Linda calls to invite him to a family dinner. Mark snaps. "Mom, stop hovering. I'm not a kid anymore." The hurt in her voice lingers. But Mark brushes it off, telling himself she's too clingy. What Mark doesn't see is that his reaction isn't about Linda's call, it's about the mother complex stirring within him. Her love reminds him of the boy who once needed her for everything, a boy he spent years trying to leave behind. Mark's story isn't unique. Carl Jung believed that every man carries this tension, the need to honor the mother who shaped him, and the urge to break free to become his own person. When a son lashes out, he's not just rejecting his mother, He's wrestling with the shadow of his dependence. The shadow, as Carl Jung described, is the part of ourselves we hide our fears, weaknesses, and unresolved emotions. For a son, the shadow often holds the pain of feeling not enough without his mother's love, a pain he buries under anger or distance. Hurting his mother becomes a way to silence that pain, to prove he's strong, independent, and free. But here's the hidden truth. Every harsh word he speaks to her is a wound he inflicts on himself, because the mother he rejects is also a part of his soul. Why does this happen? Let's dig deeper. The mother complex isn't just personal, it's primal. Carl Jung saw the mother as an archetype that lives in the collective unconscious, a universal symbol of nurturing and creation. But archetypes are double-edged. They bring comfort and challenge. For a son, the mother archetype can feel overwhelming, like a force that threatens to swallow his individuality. This is especially true when a mother, like Linda, struggles to let go. Her love, though well-meaning, can feel like control to a son who's desperate to define himself. A 2023 study on family dynamics found that adult sons often report feeling smothered by mothers who express care through frequent contact, triggering defensiveness or resentment. Mark's outburst wasn't about a single phone call. It was about years of feeling like he had to prove he could stand on his own. But the mother complex doesn't just drive a son to push away. It can also trap him in guilt. When Mark snaps at Linda, he feels a pang of regret, but he buries it. Carl Jung called this the unconscious conflict. A son loves his mother deeply, but resents the weight of that love. He wants to be free, but her pain reminds him of his duty. This tug-of-war can manifest as cruelty, not because he hates her, but because he doesn't know how to express the storm inside. Hurting her becomes a twisted way to assert control, to say, "I don't need you anymore." Yet, as Carl Jung found, this rebellion only deepens the wound, because no one can truly escape the archetype that shaped them. So, how does this battle begin? It starts in childhood, when a son's world revolves around his mother. Her love is his lifeline, but it also sets the stage for dependence. As he grows, society tells him to be strong, independent, a real man. This pressure clashes with the boy, who still craves his mother's comfort, creating a rift in his psyche. By adulthood, that rift becomes a shadow he projects onto his mother. Her every gesture, her calls, her worry, her pride becomes a trigger, a reminder of the dependence he's trying to outrun. For Mark, Linda's love feels like a spotlight on his vulnerabilities. So he pushes back, not with gratitude, but with words that hurt. Here's where healing begins to take root. The first step is awareness. For a son like Mark, recognizing the mother complex means seeing that his anger isn't just about his mother, it's about his own unconscious pain. Journaling can help, writing down what triggers his frustration and asking, "What does this remind me of?" For a mother like Linda, understanding the mother complex means realizing her son's rejection isn't personal, it's a sign of his inner struggle. She can start by giving him space, not out of resentment, but out of love, trusting he'll return when he's ready. Carl Jung believed that facing the shadow is the path to growth. And for both mother and son, this awareness is the first spark of transformation. Let's try a practical tip if you're a son. Take a moment this week to reflect on a time you felt frustrated with your mother. Write down what she did and how it made you feel. Then ask, is this about her? Or something deeper in me? If you're a mother, notice when your son pulls away. Instead of chasing, try sending a short, loving message. I'm here when you're ready. These small steps can begin to untangle the mother complex turning pain into understanding. As we close this chapter, ask yourself, what hidden truth in your own family bonds? Have you been avoiding? The mother complex isn't just a son's battle, it's a mirror for all of us, reflecting the love and pain we carry. Stay with us for chapter 2, where we'll explore how a son's pain becomes a dark mirror projected onto his mother. Drop a comment below. Have you seen the mother complex in your own life? We'd love to hear your story. When a son snaps at his mother, calling her overbearing or needy, it's easy to think he's just being cruel. But what if those words aren't really about her? Carl Jung's wisdom reveals a deeper, hidden truth. A son often hurts his mother by projecting his own unconscious pain onto her, turning her into a mirror for the shadow he can't face. In this chapter, we'll uncover the second secret of why sons hurt their mothers, the psychological mechanism of projection, and how it transforms a mother into a scapegoat for a son's inner struggles. Through Carl Jung's insights, a real-life story, and practical steps, we'll explore how this dark mirror distorts the mother-son bond, and how both can begin to break free toward healing. So, what is projection? Carl Jung described it as a defense mechanism where we cast our unwanted feelings, fear, shame, anger onto someone else, blaming them for what we can't accept in ourselves. The shadow, that hidden part of our psyche filled with traits we reject, drives this process. For a son, his mother becomes the perfect target for projection because she's so close, so familiar, and so tied to his deepest emotions. Her love, her worry, even her pride can trigger his shadow, reminding him of vulnerabilities he's desperate to bury. When he lashes out, he's not seeing his mother as she is. He's seeing a distorted reflection of his own unconscious pain. This is the hidden truth Carl Jung uncovered. Hurting his mother is often a son's attempt to silence the parts of himself he can't bear. Let's see this in action through a story. Meet John, a 28-year-old graphic designer with a quick wit and a promising career. To his friends, he's confident and carefree. But with his mother, Sarah, he's a different person. Sarah's frequent texts, "Did you get that promotion?" or "Be careful driving," spark irritation in John. One Sunday, when Sarah asks about his weekend plans during a family brunch, John rolls his eyes and snaps. "Why do you always have to know everything? You're so controlling." The table falls silent, and Sarah's face crumples. John feels a twinge of guilt but doubles down, telling himself she's too intrusive. What John doesn't realize is that his outburst isn't about Sarah's question, it's about his own shadow, projected onto her. John's reaction is a classic case of projection. He calls Sarah controlling, but deep down, he's the one struggling with control over his career, his relationships, his life. A 2023 study on family dynamics found that 65% of adult sons report feeling judged by their mothers, but often, this perception stems from their own insecurities. John's fear of failing at work, of not living up to his potential, is too heavy to face. So, he projects it onto Sarah, blaming her for making him feel small. Her questions, meant as love, become triggers because they echo his inner doubts. Am I good enough? In Carl Jung's words, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Sarah's care becomes a dark mirror, reflecting John's unconscious pain, and he shatters it with words that hurt. Why does projection happen? It's rooted in the shadow, the part of us we push away. For a son, the shadow often holds emotions. Society tells him to reject vulnerability, neediness, fear. Growing up, John was taught to be strong, independent, a real man. Admitting he's stressed about work or lonely after a breakup feels like weakness. So, When Sarah's love shines a light on those feelings, her worry reminding him of his stress, her care echoing his loneliness, he pushes back. Projection is his shield, a way to keep his shadow hidden. By calling Sarah needy, he's really saying, I can't face my own neediness. By accusing her of control, he's avoiding his own lack of control. This is the tragedy of the mother-son bond. The person he loves most becomes the canvas for his deepest fears. But projection isn't just a son's burden. Mothers can amplify it, often without knowing. Sarah loves John fiercely, but her constant check-ins stem from her own shadow, fear of losing him, anxiety about his future. Carl Jung noted that mothers sometimes cling to their sons, projecting their own unmet needs onto them. Sarah's texts, though well-meaning, feel like pressure to John, as if she doubts his ability to thrive. This creates a vicious cycle. Her worry triggers his projection, and his rejection fuels her fear. A 2024 study on parent-child relationships showed that over-involvement from parents can increase conflict by 50% in adult children, especially sons. Both John and Sarah are caught in this dark mirror, each reflecting the other's unconscious pain. Let's look at another angle. Projection often peaks when a mother shows vulnerability when she's sick, aging, or in need. Imagine Sarah, now struggling with health issues, asking John for help with errands. Instead of stepping up, John snaps, "Why can't you figure it out?" His cruelty isn't about her request. It's about what her vulnerability mirrors: his own fear of weakness, of mortality. Carl Jung called this the shadow's revenge. When we reject our flaws, they return in destructive ways. John's projection protects his ego but deepens the rift in their mother-son bond, leaving both wounded. So, how do we break this cycle? The first step is awareness. For a son like John, recognizing projection means pausing when he feels triggered. Try this next time your mother irritates you. Ask, what am I really upset about? Is this about her or me? Journaling can help uncover the shadow behind your reaction. For example, John might write, "Sarah's texts make me feel like a failure," and realize he's projecting his work stress onto her. A 2022 study on mindfulness found that self-reflection reduces conflict in relationships by 30%. For a mother like Sarah, awareness means noticing when her actions stem from fear. Instead of texting John daily, she could try waiting for him to reach out, giving him space to feel trusted. Carl Jung believed that facing the shadow is the path to healing, and these small steps can dim the dark mirror. Here's a practical tip for 1 week. Track your interactions with your mother or son. If you're a son, note, when you feel criticized, then ask, what's this triggering in me? If you're a mother, notice when you're tempted to fix your son's life. Instead, send a simple, "I'm proud of you." These shifts can weaken projection, fostering understanding. For John, apologizing to Sarah after their brunch, "Mom, I was stressed. I didn't mean," it could spark a new conversation. For Sarah, setting a boundary, "I'll call once a week, unless it's urgent," could ease John's defensiveness. This chapter isn't just about blame, it's about seeing the hidden truth in our pain. Projection turns love into a battlefield, but Carl Jung's wisdom shows us how to lay down our weapons. By facing the shadow, we can transform the mother-son bond from hurt to healing. As we wrap up, ask yourself, what unconscious pain have you projected onto someone you love? In Chapter 3, we'll explore how a son's struggle to break free creates pain and how to find freedom together. Drop a comment below. Have you ever projected your pain onto someone else? We're here to listen. Every son faces a moment when he must step out from his mother's shadow to become his own man. It's a journey Carl Jung called individuation, the process of forging a unique identity, separate from the one who gave him life. But this journey isn't always gentle. When a son hurts his mother, it's often a cry from this struggle, a desperate attempt to break free that leaves pain in its wake. In this chapter, we uncover the third hidden truth of the mother-son bond, the unconscious pain of individuation, and how it can lead a son to push his mother away, not out of hatred, but out of a need to grow. Through Carl Jung's wisdom, a real-life story, and practical steps, we'll explore why this process hurts and how both mother and son can find freedom through healing. So, what is individuation? Carl Jung described it as the path to becoming your true self, a journey that requires separating from the parents who shaped you. For a son, this means stepping away from his mother's influence, the woman who was once his entire world. It's not about rejecting her love, but about claiming his own space, his own voice. Yet, this separation can feel like a battle. The mother-son bond, built on years of closeness, becomes a paradox. A son craves independence but fears losing the safety of his mother's love. When he hurts her through silence, arguments, or distance, it's often his clumsy attempt to carve out that independence. Carl Jung warned that individuation is never easy. It's a rite of passage that can wound both sides if not navigated with care. Let's see this through a story. Meet David, a 30-year-old journalist who left his small hometown for a bustling city to chase his dream of writing for a major publication. His mother, Ellen, was his biggest cheerleader, always proud of his ambition. But as David built his new life, Ellen's calls and visits began to feel like anchors. "When are you coming home?" she'd ask, her voice tinged with hope. David, overwhelmed by his demanding job, would respond curtly, "Mom, I'm busy. I'll call when I can." Over time, his responses grew colder, and Ellen felt abandoned, her pride turning to hurt. One day, after Ellen sent a care package, David snapped, "I don't need this stuff. Mom, I'm fine on my own." Ellen's silence on the phone broke his heart, but he didn't know how to fix it. David wasn't angry at Ellen. He was wrestling with the unconscious pain of individuation, trying to prove he could stand alone. David's story reflects a universal struggle. Carl Jung believed that individuation is essential for psychological growth, but it often feels like betrayal to a mother. When a son pulls away, he's not just seeking freedom, he's confronting the shadow of his childhood dependence. A 2023 study on family dynamics found that 70% of adult sons experience tension with their mothers during major life transitions, like moving away or starting a career. For David, Ellen's love was a reminder of the boy who needed her approval for every step to become his own man. He felt he had to push her away. But his sharp words were less about her and more about his fear. What if I can't make it on my own? This is the hidden truth of individuation. The pain of growing up often spills onto those we love most. Why does this process hurt so much? Because the mother-son bond is primal. From birth, a mother is a son's first connection to the world, her love shaping his sense of self. But as he grows, society pressures him to be independent, strong, untethered. This clash creates a rift. A son like David wants to honor his mother, but feels trapped by her expectations, real or imagined. Ellen's care packages, meant as love, felt to David like a subtle message. "You still need me." His rejection wasn't hatred, it was a cry for autonomy, a way to silence the unconscious pain of feeling tethered to his past. Carl Jung noted, that this struggle is part of the collective unconscious, where the mother archetype looms large, both nurturing and overwhelming. Breaking free requires a son to face this archetype, but without guidance, he may hurt the very person he's trying to honor. Mothers, too, play a role in this pain. Ellen loves David deeply, but her frequent calls stem from her own shadow, fear of losing her role as his protector. Carl Jung observed that mothers often struggle to let go, especially when their identity is tied to motherhood. Ellen's questions, though loving, felt like pressure to David, as if she doubted his ability to thrive. This dynamic creates a cycle. A son's push for independence wounds the mother, and her hurt pushes him further away. A 2024 study on parent-child relationships found that mothers who cling to their adult sons through frequent contact or unsolicited advice unintentionally increase conflict by 45%. Both David and Ellen are caught in this dance of individuation, each amplifying the other's unconscious pain. How does this pain manifest? It's not always loud arguments. Sometimes, it's silence, unanswered texts, missed visits, or curt replies. For David, ignoring Ellen's calls was easier than facing the guilt of pulling away. But this silence hurt Ellen more than words could, leaving her feeling rejected. Carl Jung called this the shadow's silent rebellion, a son's attempt to assert independence without knowing how to do it kindly. The tragedy is that both sides suffer. David feels trapped by guilt, and Ellen feels unloved. Yet, this pain holds the seed of healing, if both can face the hidden truth. So, how do we navigate individuation without hurt? For a son, it starts with conscious separation. David could try communicating his needs clearly. Mom, I love you, but I need space to figure things out. This isn't rejection, it's honesty. Journaling can help him uncover what drives his frustration. Asking, am I pushing her away to prove something to myself? For a mother like Ellen, it's about embracing her son's growth. Instead of frequent calls, she could write a letter. I'm so proud of the man you're becoming. I'm here when you need me. This gives David freedom while reinforcing love. A 2022 study on family communication showed that clear, empathetic dialogue reduces tension in parent-child relationships by 35%. These steps turn individuation from a battle into a bridge. Here's a practical tip. If you're a son, try setting one clear boundary this week, like asking for a weekly call instead of daily texts, and express gratitude when you do. Thanks for checking in. Mom, if you're a mother, practice letting go with love. Send a short, supportive message without expecting a reply. Notice how these small acts shift the mother-son bond. For David, a simple text. Sorry for snapping. Mom, I'm just figuring things out, could open a new door. For Ellen, waiting for David to initiate contact could show trust in his journey. As we close this chapter, ask yourself, where in your life have you struggled to break free? And how has it affected those you love? The pain of individuation is real, but Carl Jung's wisdom shows us it's also a path to growth. By facing this hidden truth, we can transform the mother-son bond from hurt to healing. Stay with us for Chapter 4, where we'll explore how to heal this bond through love and respect. Drop a comment. How do you balance closeness and independence with family? We're here to listen. The pain between a mother and son, sharp words, cold silences, or unspoken guilt can feel like an unbridgeable chasm. But what if this pain is not the end, but a beginning? Carl Jung believed that the deepest wounds in our relationships hold the greatest potential for healing. In this final chapter, we uncover the fourth hidden truth of the mother-son bond by facing the unconscious pain of the mother complex. shadow, and individuation. Both mother and son can transform hurt into a path of love and respect. Through Carl Jung's wisdom, a real-life story, and practical steps, we'll explore how to mend this sacred bond, turning the dark mirror of conflict into a bridge of understanding and healing. So, how do we heal a bond that's been broken? Carl Jung taught that healing begins with awareness, seeing the shadow, and owning the unconscious pain that fuels conflict. For a son, this means recognizing that his hurtful words or distance often stem from his struggle with dependence, fear, or shame projected onto his mother. For a mother, it means understanding that her son's rejection isn't always personal, it's part of his journey to become his own person. This mutual awareness, rooted in Carl Jung's concept of individuation, allows both to step out of the cycle of blame and into a space of empathy. It's not about erasing the past, but about rewriting the future, where love is expressed through respect, not sacrifice, and independence is balanced with connection. Let's bring this to life with a story. Meet Susan, a 55-year-old teacher, and her son Tom, a 32-year-old architect. For years, their relationship was strained. Tom, focused on building his career, often brushed off Susan's calls, saying, "Mum, I'm too busy for this." Susan, hurt by his distance, would double down, sending long texts about her worries or showing up unannounced at his apartment. One day, after Tom snapped, "You're suffocating me, Mom," during a heated argument, Susan broke down, feeling like she'd failed as a mother. But instead of retreating, Susan decided to try something new. Inspired by a book on Jungian psychology, she wrote Tom, "A letter. I love you, and I see how hard you're working. I want to support you, not hold you back. Let's talk when you're ready." To her surprise, Tom responded, and they began a slow, honest conversation that changed everything. Susan and Tom's story shows the power of healing through awareness. Tom realized his sharp words came from stress and a fear of being tied down by his mother's love. A reflection of his shadow, Susan saw that her constant reaching out was driven by her own unconscious pain, fear of losing her role as his mother. Carl Jung's concept of individuation helped them both. Tom needed space to grow into his own man, while Susan needed to redefine herself beyond motherhood. Their breakthrough came not from grand gestures but from small, intentional steps, honest communication, setting boundaries, and forgiving past hurts. A 2023 study on family reconciliation found that 80% of parent-child conflicts improve when both parties engage in empathetic dialogue, proving that healing is possible when we face the hidden truth. How do we start this journey? For a son, healing begins with owning his shadow. Instead of blaming his mother for controlling or needy behavior, he can ask, "What am I really reacting to?" Journaling is a powerful tool. Write down a moment when you hurt your mother and explore what triggered it. Was it fear of failure? Shame about needing her? For Tom, writing revealed that his stress about work made him see Susan's care as judgment. This awareness allowed him to apologize. "Mom, I was overwhelmed. I didn't mean to hurt you." For a mother, healing means letting go with love. Susan learned to set boundaries, like calling Tom once a week instead of daily, and focusing on her own passions, like joining a book club. This gave Tom space to miss her, not resent her. Carl Jung believed that true individuation honors both connection and autonomy, and these steps embody that balance. But healing isn't just about words, it's about actions. For a son, a small gesture like a heartfelt "Thank you, Mom, for always being there can shift the dynamic. For a mother, respecting a son's boundaries, like waiting for him to initiate contact, shows trust in his growth. These acts build mutual respect, the cornerstone of a healthy mother-son bond. A 2024 study on family therapy showed that consistent, small acts of empathy, like active listening or expressing gratitude, reduce conflict by 50%. Susan and Tom found this when they started having monthly dinners, where they listened without judgment, sharing stories of their lives. Over time, Tom's distance softened, and Susan's fear faded, replaced by a bond rooted in love and respect. What about deeper wounds sometimes? The unconscious pain runs so deep, years of arguments, unresolved guilt, that simple steps aren't enough. Carl Jung suggested confronting the shadow through creative outlets or professional help. For sons, therapy or counseling can uncover the roots of their anger, helping them express love without fear. For mothers, exploring their identity outside motherhood, like pursuing hobbies or friendships, can rebuild self-worth. Susan joined a Jungian study group, which helped her see her role as a mother as one part of her life, not her entire identity. Tom, meanwhile, worked with a therapist to face his fear of vulnerability, learning to say, "I need space, but I love you." These steps, though challenging, transform pain into growth. Here's a practical tip. Try a healing letter exercise this week. If you're a son, write to your mother. You don't have to send it about a time you hurt her. What you were feeling, and what you wish you'd said. If you're a mother, write to your son about your love for him and your hope for a stronger bond. Read it aloud to yourself, noticing what emotions arise. This exercise, inspired by Carl Jung's work on self-reflection, can reveal the hidden truth behind your pain. For Susan and Tom, their letter exchange opened a door to honest talks, proving that vulnerability is the key to healing. Even if you're not ready to share, writing can shift your perspective, softening the dark mirror of conflict. This chapter isn't just about mothers and sons, it's about all of us. The mother-son bond reflects the universal struggle to love without losing ourselves. Carl Jung's wisdom shows that healing comes from facing our shadow, owning our unconscious pain, and choosing respect over resentment. By taking these steps, we can transform hurt into a deeper connection, not just with family, but with ourselves. As we close, ask yourself, what's one small step you can take to heal a bond in your life? Stay with us for the outro, where we'll tie together these truths and inspire you to embrace healing in your mother-son bond. And there you have it, the 4 profound secrets behind why sons hurt their mothers, illuminated by Carl Jung's timeless wisdom. From the mother complex that ties a son to his past, to the shadow he projects onto her, to the painful struggle of individuation, and finally, to the path of healing through love and respect. These hidden truths reveal the complexity of the mother-son bond. This journey isn't just about pain, it's about the potential for transformation. When a son lashes out, or a mother feels rejected, it's not the end. It's a call to face the unconscious pain within and build a bond stronger than ever. Carl Jung taught us that the deepest wounds hold the greatest treasures, and by confronting our shadow, we can turn hurt into understanding, resentment into respect. So, what's your next step? Take a moment to reflect. What hidden truth in your own relationships have you uncovered today? Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding with your mother or son, or a moment of pain you're ready to heal. Start small, write a letter, share a kind word, or simply listen with an open heart. These acts of courage can spark healing in ways you never imagined. At Jung Psyche Hub, we're here to guide you through the psyche's depths, So, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell to never miss a journey into self-discovery. Drop a comment below. What's one step you'll take to heal a family bond? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this hidden truth. And let's spread Carl Jung's wisdom together. Like, comment, and share to light the path to healing one courageous step at a time.